Welcome back to I Will Inc. Simple Kitchen. Today we'll be looking at how to safely use a food processor in the kitchen while making toasted coconut macaroons. Due to my visual impairment, I use the R&IB pen friend to allow me to know what is in my cupboards. The following video shows you how I use the pen friend to find what I need for each recipe.
Lentils, gluten-free plain flour, gluten-free self-raising flour.
The pen friend works by moving the pen across an object where you have put a sticker and recorded a message upon. Once the pen hits that sticker, it rereads the message you recorded. This coconut macaroon recipe is from a website called Foodie Fiasco. I will provide the link in the comments below. The following video shows how I use a food processor. I make sure that everything is laid out where I know it is. To collect the blade and to insert the different parts of the food processor, I use a tea towel to ensure that the blade won't touch my hand. I ensure that each part of the processor has clicked in to its correct position before I move on to the next part. Having somebody explain the different parts of a processor to you before you start to use one independently is always a good idea. It gave me the confidence to then use it by myself, even though I have a visual impairment. So once it was all pieced together, it was time to get my ingredients ready. First, add the desiccated coconut into the food processor. Next is the heaped tablespoon of coconut flour. Then goes in the protein powder. I chose to use vanilla, but you can use plain or whatever flavour you like to complement the coconut. To measure out these ingredients, I use measured cups. This takes away any stress of having to use scales. Next goes in the sugar or sweetener. Again, I used a measured cup to measure out the correct amount. After that, place in your vanilla extract. Ensure all the dry ingredients for the recipe are in your food processor and pulse to combine equally. I chose a simple food processor with 1 click to the left being pulse, 1 click to the right being level 1 and 2 clicks to the right being a level 2 mix. Next, add your coconut oil. I left the lid on for this and place it through the funnel at the top. Now for the wet ingredients. As my first attempt, I tried to pour the almond milk through the funnel at the top of the food processor, but I caused a massive mess. So then I decided to place the cup of almond milk next to the food processor and I spooned in the almond milk slowly with a teaspoon. Keep adding the almond milk until the texture turns to a crumbly cookie mix. The noise seemed to change out of the food processor. It sounded heavier. This change in sound is what signalled to me the texture had changed, which then allowed me to take off the lid and check the texture. Remember, when placing fingers into the food processor, ensure that the food processor is unplugged from the wall to stop any accidents occurring. If you run your finger on the outside of the food processor, this will mean that you are the furthest away from the centre blades. The picture shows a dough-like consistency, which is perfect for the macaroons. When taking out the blade of the food processor before rolling into balls, again I used a tea towel to remove the blade. Roll the dough into single balls and place on a foiled baking tray. Place in the oven at the temperature described in the recipe. I use long-armed oven gloves with fingers. This gives me the dexterity and mobility to ensure that I handle the tray correctly, but also it protects up to my elbow away from the heat. To ensure that I didn't leave them in too long, I used Siri and asked it to place a timer on for me. This gave me a vocal recognition for when the timer had finished. They taste absolutely amazing. Using a food processor with a visual impairment can be a little daunting. But obviously, if you take the correct safety steps and ensure that you are fully confident before using one individually, there will be no problem. Have a go and enjoy!